you ever want, for example, say we have a math team.
Well, I don't wanna exclude a kid, so we may need an exception if there's any kids currently in here, and we have enough of our own kids. We don't wanna say, oh, by the way, tomorrow take the hike because you're no longer on the team.
At this point that I know of, we don't
So there's
have-
nobody that we need to grandfather into anything.
And I agree with that. You gotta make sure that you cover the grandfather. But I guess the point, I guess my concern when this
Just
all
pay
came
any
up
student that's currently
was-
active can finish out the school year.
was, and this is something that's near and dear to me. When we put our kids at St. Joseph's, we made the decision that they weren't gonna be able to, Abby wasn't gonna be able to participate in field hockey or basketball or anything else in the middle school. She misses out on those things. But from the grand scheme of things, we saw that there were better opportunities at St. Joseph currently. We're working to make it better. We're working to make it better. But, and that was our personal decision. I mean, there's religious education that they can't get.
I don't want to-
Yeah, I think let's.
So you leave, so that's why I'm saying you include the non-public and the public, so it hits Bristol Aggie. If you make a choice to send your child to Bristol
Bristol
Aggie.
Aggie's a little bit different because we actually pay
Choices beyond the
Bristol
scope
Aggie
of
students.
discussing policy revision,
They're our budget.
point of order.
Hold on,
Okay,
I think the question is, who does this apply to?
It applies to everybody.
Westport
That's,
residents.
well, it's Westport
Public
residents.
and non-public schools.
If you
Question on the motion, please, which
this,
is a priority request. My request is simply,
We haven't,
isn't this a discussion of an existing motion?
no.
You're
No,
making-
You're
I
making-
amended,
he's
I
making-
amended,
he's
I amended
amending
the
He's
motion
amending his
so that
motion.
we
This is a long
change,
amendment.
so that we change not,
You're amending the motion.
I'll get to it if,
Well, what I'm suggesting is,
I'll get to it.
your
so we get
amendment
on.
should probably include what you've said and send it back to the subcommittee, because now we're having good
No, I
discussion, but with the benefit of the time,
I appreciate your suggestion. I'm gonna go ahead and make the amendment to the motion, and then
so,
I'll amend the motion so that we change non-public student, or non-public schools to read non-public/public schools twice in paragraph 2 on page 2, then again in bullet 1 and bullet 5 under paragraph 2, and then I asked it to strike the exceptions,
all the exceptions or just?
all the exceptions, because we currently don't have a kid in the situation at the middle school to do that. We don't have anybody to grandfather right now, so you strike them all.
I just
But
want,
it seems to me the only line,
the floor is there.
That's the motion.
We're
Yes.
trying-
You need to have a second. That's the motion I made.
okay,
So
is
before
there a
this-
second? Did you want to continue, do your second? Did you second it? First second?
Can you repeat that again, because all of this is making my
We're-
head
The
spin.
secretary will repeat the motion as recorded.
he's amending the motion, the policy to read non-public to non-public/public schools. It's twice in the second paragraph, and then bullet 1, bullet 5, and then he wants to strike the exception section completely.
No, I'm not gonna second that. I don't wanna strike that last part, sorry.
But-
I don't
Well,
think,
you gotta have a second before you can discuss anything
alright,
else. so-
second it.
Okay.
It's the rules, it's the rules.
Yeah.
Students who are currently participating, well,
If you're
what
not,
does that mean, who are currently participating in Westport Community Schools?
Students.
So with the motion down on the
Students.
floor.
But is that today, or was that when it was
You
written?
did second it?
yes.
Second it.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I did. I take it to read a Westport Community School student who wants to play at the high school level will be allowed to do that. You're not even taking somebody out of district at that point, it's somebody in district,
That's
so.
how I interpret it.
I'll amend the motion yet again to leave the third bullet in the exceptions in the policy.
We do have some of that going on potentially in the chorus concerts that are coming up with the kids working together, so.
So I amended that, so
We need to
you need to have a second.
Second on that amendment.
Discussion, Mr. Sullivan.
Discussion, simply that you add to the motion a friendly request that, and any other issues be referred, that the policy still be referred back to subcommittee. Because if.
Wait, we can finish it off.
Yeah, the first motion we made was to not go that route.
We're suspending the rules of the
suspend that,
subcommittee
right.
to finish it now.
No.
Having no procedures in place, if we're gonna make a revision, does that mean subcommittee's not gonna look at it when
Well,
we come up to it?
unfortunately, that's what you suggested we do, is that we skip the subcommittee part of this and just simply discuss it now and approve
Well, then
some
we'll be,
final.
that's fine, as long as,
Okay,
I
yep.
just thought you all wanted to head out, so I'm fine with that. So we're discussing,
No, there's a motion on the floor to accept the policy as is with the changes that I noted. There's been a second, we're now discussing it. I'm assuming we're gonna take a vote.
Is there any other discussion, Dr. Spellman?
I would like to add another piece, but let me write it so that Karen doesn't have to go crazy reading it.
and as he's writing, I just.
Mr. Sullivan.
To ask, and it might be what he's writing, is this is a policy about the whole school district. Michelle's brought up part of the way I interpret the music program. I know that any of the issues other than middle school students demonstrating gifts can continue for limited participation in the high school band. I will submit that that policy was written to enable a middle school student who attended the middle school, was active in the music program, to continue in high school band while a student outside the district. That was the intent of this exception, so if you're not referring to the old intent, then let's refer to while still in high school, while still an enrolled student. Because
Doesn't it say Westport Community School, middle school students? I mean,
It
that's-
does.
yes, and they have demonstrated their abilities while a middle school student.
Right.
It also goes on to say they may continue.
Right, it says that middle school students be allowed to play for the high school. That's what that says.
Well, my explanation is very simple. It's worded for a purpose. The purpose is that middle school student continued to high school, that they be allowed to continue in the band. That was
I
the
don't think that's what
intent
it
of the
says.
way this was written.
I don't think that's what
That
that
was
says.
the intent of
This-
that was the intent.
All right, okay, hold on one second.
To-
Mr. Larry.
Spoke too much today.
Right, Mr. Larry.
Either time.
Thank you.